Welcome to another edition of OnsideSA the Soccer Show. And this week, Budge and I, well, firstly, it's good to be back, Budge, after all my COVID rubbish.
Now and I to get one defeat in a long time, and you make an
appearance. I'll make a comeback. You know, Burnley scored 3, they beat Liverpool, and they win 3 games in a row.
Yeah.
That's unheard of. But Budge, the main talking point has got to be last one standing. Sean Phillips edged out our friend Clinton Heap. You know, both Sporting. They said we don't drag it on. They kept picking the same teams.
Yeah.
They had to go. Sean picked
bragging rights. Yeah, you got Brighton.
So he got the bragging rights. He's the official winner.
Yeah.
But sportingly, well done to Clinton.
No doubt.
You know? So that's the story. But this new one starts this weekend. Budge is going to give you the nitty gritties. But again, there's a lot of people getting on. Make sure you get on in time. It starts this weekend. And Budge, tell them about how we're not doing midweeks.
Yeah, well, what has happened, Paul, because of all the European games coming up, there's not going to be many league games. So I think the Premiership have tried to fit one round in. But we're not going to be included. If we get our usual 450, 500, Paul, to get everybody Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So I just said no. The following 4 Saturday, I think it's the 6th, 13th,
20th, 27th.
Of February. I know I sent everybody a clip of
April Fool's joke.
April Fool's joke, yeah.
So everyone who gets this clip and Budge sends it out, make sure you get them on. I wonder how long Stevie B is going to last. Derek Ramsey, Mark Cabood, Charlie Pigram.
Your boys.
I got to the last 9. Myself and Napier got to the last 9.
Clive's been a regular top 10, 12.
Got to give him credit. The big guns are coming in again. You know, the Anthony Sewers, the Mark Currys, the Lawrence Werners, and you know of some of the other big ones.
What about Sean Singleton? I know he's
Singleton.
Singleton, okay.
Sean Singleton. Okay. I'm speaking to him later today, but he has a go.
Well, there's a lot of guys that have a go, Paul. There's not really much to do these days, unfortunately, due to COVID. So it's a great competition to get involved in.
Imagine it started last night. Well, so don't forget, midweek's not included, 6th, 13th, 20th and 27th. And that's for last one standing competition, bragging rights, and a good prize if you can get it. But let's see, Stevie, how's Stevie B been?
Well, I'm sure it'll be okay, especially after Fulham squeaked a point last night. Good morning, Steve.
Morning, guys.
Morning, Steve. Good to hear your voice.
At the end of the day, it was a game that we wanted to win, but we'll take a point. Better than losing.
That's true.
Sometimes your side plays so well, Steve. They've got players who can turn it around, but they get themselves a bit under the caution games, and they have to fight back.
Yeah. I just thought, Steve, when you got to the last third last night, it seemed to be a little bit panicky, yeah?
Well, I think that's part of the issue at the moment is, Mitrovic has hardly started. He's sort of off his game, hasn't been 100% fit. And, Lookman maybe, but apart from that, we haven't got anybody that is confident in front of goal. And I know that Scott Parker is desperately trying to bring somebody in. And I think, that could be the difference between us getting out of that bottom 3 or not.
Yeah.
We're just not creating enough chances. And when we do, we're just not clinical enough. And that's, it's all very well, playing 5 at the back and being defensive and keeping clean sheets, but you've got to score at the other end, and it puts pressure on everybody.
Now, Steve, the midweek results, there's one team who I know are in serious trouble. That's Newcastle United. I didn't watch much of it. They got beat 2-1 by Leeds United. They're in serious trouble.
The boss.
They are. I watched some of the second half. Actually, they had a real go in the second half.
Yeah.
They brought sort of Maximin back up, who's been out, sort of recovering from coronavirus, and he actually made a difference. But they are in trouble. And Steve Bruce, as things stand, is odds-on favourite to be the next manager to go. They got a tough game at the weekend, So look, they really are struggling, but they got some points in the bag earlier in the season. So but they're getting drawn ever closer to the teams at the bottom, and they're sort of 6 clear of us. We have a game in hand, so I think if they lose. They haven't won in over 10 games.
No, struggling.
I think they've lost 5 in a row. They carry on that form. They are going to be sucked right down there.
Yeah.
Stevie, how about West Ham? They're in the top 4.
They're 4th, yeah.
Yeah, won 4 in a row, playing well, scoring goals. They've got Michael Antonio back, who's sort of his form has carried on from the latter part of last season. And on the back of that, they were, they decided to take a chance, got rid of Sebastian Haller without having brought anybody else in. So, but at the moment, they can't seem to do anything wrong and looking strong. And I'm sure, with teams faltering around them, You know, they find themselves, when you think that, you know, they struggled last season, got themselves out of it towards the end, but here they are, 35 points already.
Yeah, that was a game I watched because obviously the Newcastle game was at the same time. Those two guys in the middle of the park, Rice and Souček, are playing great.
Souček,
and
scores goals.
Scored 2 goals. They could have won 5 or 6. Yeah, the late goal from Palace really was, it masked the problems. But they're in trouble too, Steve Palace. I know they got points and they got players.
They got points sort of early on, but
yes.
they are struggling a bit. And you know, but Roy they seem to normally just do enough to get out of trouble. But you know, they tend to have bad runs at the end of the season. They certainly had a shocking run last season.
Yeah.
They have another run like that, then again they're going to get sucked back into it.
Yeah, Steve, we'll leave the West Brom, Man City, Southampton, Arsenal. Did you see any of the Chelsea Wolves game last night?
Just a little bit. They laboured to break down a stubborn Wolves team. Wolves didn't create much from what I saw, but you know, not a particularly exciting start for Thomas Tuchel. I mean, they've got games on paper that they should do better, and you sort of feel a bit sorry for Frank Lampard that with the sort of run of games they've got coming up, you know, they probably could have got points and got out of it, but. So, look, you know, they find themselves quite adrift at the moment of the top few. So, you know, I think the best they can hope for is, if they put a run together, is maybe scrape into the top 4. But I don't think you get any higher than that.
You know, Steve, the Frank Lampard obviously was a bit of a surprise for me, but he's the 3rd Chelsea manager to be fired after winning a game. Champion, the European Cup, the one got.
Di Matteo, he got the chop. And the Brazilian. I think Ancelotti won the double and got fired. Or was that Scolari?
Yeah, I mean, on
a win.
They've got a record. I mean, the amount of managers and the quality of the managers that he's fired. You know, look, I think a lot of people thought he'd be given a bit longer, but you know. The powers that be, whether it's directly from Abramovich or the people he leaves to run the club for him, you know, they don't have a lot of patience. And you know, last season, obviously, without able to spend money, obviously, you know, I think he did very well. But this season, with the money they've spent, I think they were expecting to do better.
Close,
But it just shows, you know, you can be a great player, but it doesn't always translate into becoming a great manager. But you know, as somebody I was talking to said, look. He's been there long enough. He's worked under a lot of managers. He's under no illusions that, you know, it's a results-based business, particularly at Chelsea. And if you don't sort of win enough matches, you're going to go. And his win ratio was the worst, or joint worst with.
That's right. Of all those managers,
any manager in the last sort of 15 years.
1 point, I think, 1.59 points a game.
Now they've only won 2 of the last 9. Steve, one question I heard Harry Redknapp say on Sky. He doesn't think Lampard brought those German players in. Is that correct?
I suspect that's probably true.
Okay.
I think that the one player I think he did want in was Declan Rice.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it just goes to a lot of clubs. I'm afraid that the coach, manager isn't always it's not always the players that they want that get brought in. So. And I think and I wonder if that's part of the rationale for bringing in Thomas Tuchel. He's got these 2 very expensive German players that are misfiring, and maybe he can get more out of them.
Well, I think he's worked with Pulisic, he knows Rudiger, and there's somebody else that he knows.
Win rate in France.
Yeah, but he won with PSG. You and I could win with PSG with Neymar and Mbappe. But time will tell.
I think that's right.
You know, playing Hudson-Odoi as a right wing back, we'll see how long that lasts. But
he wasn't too bad. I watched the game. He got the first few crosses and he walked past that hairy left back.
Yeah.
And boom, he got some great crosses in. Callum Hudson-Odoi.
Yeah.
He's no slouch.
Okay, well, good luck to him. Steve, the less said about Man United, the better. We'll go on to the Premiership previews for the week which United are in. We kick off with your boys in a must-win game at West Brom. How do you see
I think it is. Well, it is must-win. I mean, I watched the West Brom City game, and I mean, City just completely tore them apart. I mean, at the back, you know, they're there for the taking. And I think I would be disappointed if we play like we normally do, which is sort of sit deep and try and catch them on the break. Because I think West Brom are the sort of team you've got to go after. And City did that and completely ripped them to shreds in the first half. So, look, it's a game that we have to win if we want to start clawing that gap back. I mean, we're 5 behind Brighton with a game in hand. We have to look to see if we can make points up on Brighton this weekend.
Could have been your last one standing. Fulham for the last one standing.
Yeah, there'll be a few boys will be on them.
somebody may well be. I don't think I'm that confident though. But,
no, neither am I.
But for us, it's a must-win game, really.
All right. Now, must-win game after last night, Arsenal against United.
Arsenal are ninth.
Arsenal are ninth. I think they've won 5 and drawn one of the last 6. How do you see it?
Well, again, a few weeks ago, you would have thought, this is a banker away win, but not at the moment. Arsenal playing with a lot more confidence.
Yeah.
He seems to have decided that, he's the sort of shape and the sort of players. I think he'd be disappointed he's might have lost Emile Smith-Rowe for a few games.
Yeah.
Went off injured. Not quite sure how serious that was because he's been playing very well. I saw him play for Huddersfield last year and he looked very good. Look, I think it's going to be a tough game. United have got to bounce back. I can't believe that, and I think they'll have more space to play than they did last night. So I think they'll be close. It's the sort of game, it's a 1-2-3 game, in all honesty. But I think United will probably continue with their away run of not losing. I think they'll get at least a point.
Stevie, who would you rather have? Nicolas Pepe, or what's the boy's name? Saka, is it?
Yeah, or Saka, the youngster.
Oh no, I'd rather have Saka in.
Yeah.
Rather have
Good
Saka
young player, isn't he?
Paid 70 million for the one, and they got the other one free or something. But Saka's a very good youngster.
I mean, he really hasn't shown that he's worth that sort of money. And again, you don't know whether that's the player that was foisted upon Arteta or not.
No, I think it was Unai Emery brought him in. That was before Arteta.
Right. Yeah, you're right. So, but Saka's come in and
done well.
He's making a name for himself and got himself in the England squad. So,
oh, that's good.
You know, sorry to interrupt you, but you know what's a good game? Leicester Leeds.
Yeah.
If Leeds come flying, they can trouble any side. Leicester are a good side though.
Yeah. I didn't see much of the Leicester game. I watched the second half for United. Everton reportedly with a better team. Did you see the highlights?
In stages, Budge, I watched.
I saw the highlights. Yeah, I heard that Leicester were on top in the second half.
Yeah, way on top second half. Way on top.
So they're a good team. I mean, again, they tend to play better away than they do at home, although, again, they destroyed Chelsea recently, and that might have been the final straw for Lampard. Yeah. So I think that's going to be a close game. Leeds, again, tend to be better away from home themselves. Leicester won at Leeds.
Yeah, that's right, Joe. That was Vardy.
I fancy Leicester. I just think that they're just starting to put a little bit of a run together. And,
Liverpool, will they stop West Ham's?
Well, that's it. West Ham, Liverpool, yeah. I thought this could be your value bet of the weekend, Steve. Am I right?
It isn't, but actually it's an interesting. It could be. I mean, I was looking at it. It's interesting because Liverpool got a tough game tonight, and then they have to sort of turn around and come to West Ham in a few days, and that won't be easy. And I think if Liverpool don't win either of these two away games, then you can see them just that little gap between them and City, might just start to get a little bit too wide.
Yeah. So who you fancy? The draw?
I fancy the draw. I think that West Ham are doing enough to hold, but they're playing with a huge amount of confidence, and I think a lot will depend on how Liverpool do tonight. Because if they lose at Tottenham, then they're under a real pressure, and he can't. Obviously, with the injuries, he just can't get his defence right at the moment.
Yeah, I think Mikel Antonio will score. I think he was 18-10 anytime scorer. I saw it on one site. But obviously have to confirm that game.
No, don't write them off.
No, but Mikel Antonio, West Ham 1-4 in the spin, so it should be a good game.
Very good game.
Now, last but not least, Steve, I want your head and not your heart. Brighton against Tottenham. I know your heart wants Tottenham to win. What does your head say?
Well, look, Brighton played well in patches against us, but they do struggle to score. Yeah. And I think that... I think if we were a little braver, we could have scored last night. I just think if Tottenham going to obviously again they got a big game tonight, and you just don't know what they got left in the tank afterwards. But Tottenham have got the players to unlock that Brighton defence. They're big, but they're not fast. Especially without Tariq Lamptey is out injured, and I think makes a big difference. They've got the big centre halves there, sort of White, Webster and Dunk. Dunk hasn't got a lot of pace, and I think if they can get Son in behind, I think Tottenham will win that. I think it will be close, but I think Tottenham will just edge that by one.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you.
You can't remember the last time Spurs won and Brighton gave them a football lesson. You can't remember that game at White Hart Lane?
We don't remember those, but we don't remember those. You fourth bottom.
Yeah.
Brighton, we should beat them.
Yeah.
As Steve said, we have too much speed for them, and Paul Lamptey not playing.
As I say, it's going to be a tough game tonight, and Brighton would have had that extra day to recover.
Yes. All right. Steve, on to the Championship. What's a little bit of the Swansea, is it Swansea-Brentford game? Jeez, it was bucketing. The pitch looked terrible, 1-1.
Yeah, Swansea had a player sent off.
That's correct. I saw the tackle,
Came back to draw. That's not a bad result for Swansea, actually, the whole Brentford.
Norwich are playing Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough got thumped last night.
Yeah, they got beat 3-0 by Rotherham.
Yeah, they got thumped. So
talking of Norwich, Steve, Norwich-Middlesbrough, good things, Norwich?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they're just sort of quietly getting about their business, winning the games they need to, clear at the top. Middlesbrough, who have been playing quite well, that was a real shock result to lose. Not only just lose, they were beaten,
3-0,
comprehensively, 3-0 at home. But I think Norwich will be a bit too strong. Norwich rested players in the cup. I think they're going to put out their strongest available side, and I think they'll win that.
Okay, now Blackburn have been a bit hot and cold, even though they won last week against a Luton team who upset Bournemouth away in their last game. How do you see it?
Yeah, I mean, that was a surprise. And they credited themselves quite well, Luton, in the cup at Chelsea. Didn't play badly. I think Blackburn, again at home, do score goals. The number of goals they're scoring just dropped off a little bit, but they are still top scorers. I fancy Blackburn to edge that, though. Okay,
now Wayne Rooney's team won their last 2. Can they make it 3 in a row against Bristol City?
They can, but I don't think that'll be an easier game for them. Bristol have come back, been playing quite well recently. I'd fancy Bristol to come away without defeat there.
Okay. Huddersfield Stoke?
Tough
game.
And
again, 2 inconsistent sides, but I think Huddersfield are stronger at home than Stoke are away. I'm going to plump for Huddersfield.
And last but not least, Rotherham against Swansea, who I think could be your best bet. How do you see that going?
Yeah, I was sort of tied between Swansea and Norwich, actually. And I think before last night's result, I was definitely going to punt for Swansea. Rotherham have done well. I mean, and it's normally their home form that sort of keeps them up. So that's going to be a tight game. But Swansea, we know, are good away from home, and I think Swansea might just edge that.
Yeah, okay.
So who's your best bet?
Best bet? Don't tell me it's Norwich.
I think my best bet's going to be, I'm going to go for Norwich.
You must have seen my sheet, because they're my best bet as well, Steve. All right, 9 to 10 Norwich, and your best each way bet?
Your value?
I'm going to go for Reading.
Yes.
When you look at the odds, they're above Bournemouth in the league. They're playing quite well.
Yeah.
Yet they're like 23 to 10. I think Reading at home are quite strong at the moment, so I'm going to go for them.
Actually, I watched Bournemouth. They played. I had a bet both teams to score. They played. Was it Crawley Town in the cup?
Yeah.
And Jack Wilshere scored. He took it well, but they were going through the motions. But they signed a few players. But I agree with you on Reading. That's a Friday night game, Steve.
Yeah. So that's on Friday, is it? Okay, so we'll know that one early on. So
yeah. Now, while you're watching on Friday, please have a look at the Premiership. We need your last one standing.
Yeah, do a bit of studying.
Yeah.
A lot of UK people going out early, Steve. We need you as a flag bearer.
Yeah. So far, you haven't lifted the flag. All right, Stevie. All the best, eh?
Cheers. Anyway, good talking to you both.
All the best, Steve. Take care.
Cheers, guys. But let's get straight into Premiership fixtures. Let's get going. Everton, Newcastle.
It's got to be Everton.
Got to be Everton.
Certainties 5 to 10. I think there'll be a lot of people last one standing on them, other than Man City.
Yeah. Palace, Wolves.
Wolves haven't won in the last 7 league games. I thought that they haven't won in the last 6 away from home. Palace played well against West Ham. I know it was 3-2. I'm just signs about Sahar throwing his toys out the cot. I just watched him. You get whether he wants to move or not, or he wants more support. Of the 2 teams, Paul, I like Palace, but the draw is obviously a big player.
Yeah, Wolves have got to start turning it.
They haven't won. I think they've won 1 in 9 or 1 in 10.
Okay, Man City.
Now this will be a mismatch, Paul.
Yeah, 1 to 7. You got 7 grand.
Even money, Man City to win both halves. Because I was going to go Man City to score.
That's a good bet.
I was going to go to score in both halves, but they don't concede goals. So if they score in each half, they'll win. And Sheffield United played well last night. I don't know how much left in the tank.
No, they're going to get thumped. West Brom, Fulham.
Paul, it's got to be Fulham. The only problem is they can't score. But they're playing a West Brom team who I think have scored 1 goal in the last 6 at home.
They've scored 3 fives.
Got beat by 5. They look terrible. Arsenal punished them. This is over 2.5 goals, Paul. They both got to go for it. Of the 2 teams, I like what I see from Fulham.
How about Arsenal, Man United?
Paul, I think this has got a draw written all
Me
over.
too,
You can
me
remember
too.
the first game, they got a penalty. It was a terrible game. Pogba fouled Bellerin. Very tactical and tight game. Just worried about what last night would have done to United. But 5-2 the draw would be my suggestion in that game.
Now, Southampton have dithered a little bit, and Aston Villa lost last night.
Paul, we had a bet Southampton, Arsenal, both teams to score, and to Man United to beat Liverpool. And I couldn't believe what I saw from Arsenal. I know rested a few players, but Southampton, they've got injuries. Walker, Peters and Bertrand were injured. Danny Ings is carrying an injury.
Yeah.
This, for me, is the value bet if those guys don't play. Because Aston Villa played well last night. They just got caught defensively. I don't think it'll happen.
Free header for me.
Paul, they should have been 3-0 up at half-time.
Free header for the winner,
Southampton, very similar style, good on set pieces, but with Danny Ings keeps coming off, so he's carrying an injury. I fancy Villa to cause an upset.
Okay, Chelsea against Burnley. Burnley won their last 3.
Won the last, Paul, they're hard to beat. The only thing is that Chelsea tend to beat them.
Yeah, Chelsea are better side.
Chelsea at home, only won 2 of the last 9. I wouldn't take 4-10, but you've got to fancy them to win.
Leicester City.
All goals or whatever. I think it's 6-10, both teams to score. This is going to be Grand Prix. The only problem with Leeds is they go man for man across the whole pitch.
Yes.
And if you can beat the guys just runs through.
Yeah.
It's got to be goals.
Chances.
Oh, Paul, they'll score. But I've got 8-10 Leicester.
Okay. West Ham got to try to keep their run going.
I think this is the upset of the weekend. 33-10. I think
you like West Ham?
I think it's even money, win and draw West Ham.
Yeah,
Paul, that Mikel Antonio you thrown amongst those 2 Liverpool centre halves, he's going to cause havoc. Their midfield players can compete.
They get in the box.
They get in the box, the wingers, and for once they're defending well.
Yeah, much better.
Yeah, the goalkeeper, that Polish guy's not throwing them in. And it's everything. Liverpool away from home have won 1 of the last 8. They play Spurs tonight, and that was a 7-0 game against Palace. Something's wrong in the change room. I think it has to do with wages. As contracts coming up and everyone's sitting, what's Wijnaldum going to get? Something's not right in the change room.
Something's got to give you then.
Something's got to give. I know they've got to come back. They've got too many good players, Paul. But Thursday, Sunday, it'll be a hard game tonight. I think this has got upset written all over.
All right, Spurs are 12-10.
Paul, Brighton outplay everybody but can't score. If Spurs get half the chances, they'll win.
Okay, so that's the look at there. Now let's look at the championship fixtures. So, listening to Stevie B, he likes Reading.
Yeah, tough game.
What do you think?
Bournemouth have got all the talent in the world, Paul. The last time they played on Friday night, they beat Barnsley 4-0. This is a close game, Paul. Both teams to score. I think it's 9-10 looks a certainty. I can see why Steve's going 23-10 Reading. I don't know. I think a draw's a player there.
Okay. How about Norwich?
Paul, Norwich in the best bet of the weekend for me, 9-10. Middlesbrough have lost their last few. I've heard
aren't they going to come back more determined? Are they not good enough?
Who's that?
Middlesbrough.
No. Timmy Puka and them up front. They got that Dutchman crawling goals. They've got a lot of players that they've kept Norwich. Even though they have sold 1 or 2, they look automatic to come back, Paul. I'm chanced. Even though it's a lunchtime kickoff, I'm all over Norwich, 9-10.
Wickham?
Paul, Brentford are a top team. I think it's 18 games they haven't lost. They should have won last night according to the stats, and that was at Swansea, who are a good team. 4-10. The problem with Brentford is they drop more points at home than away, but you'd expect them to beat Wickham. We're struggling.
Hollywood bets,
yep.
Okay, then we can move on to Blackburn, Luton Town. Blackburn?
Blackburn, Paul.
All day
long. Should be plenty of goals too.
Birmingham, Coventry won last night.
Yep. Now the problem with this game, Paul, is they both use St Andrews, which is the same stadium. Birmingham at home have lost 8 of the last 9. They've got 1 point at home. Coventry are unbeaten in 8, so 2-1. I think it's 19-10. Coventry looks the right play. Both teams to score local derby.
They're both playing at home.
They're both at home, but of the 2 teams, Coventry in form. Mark Robbins, the man who saved Fergie's job, he's in charge. Of the 2 teams, Paul, you've got to go for Coventry.
Who was the Coventry man? Was it Hill? Jimmy
Hill, the guy with the chin.
Famous. Okay, Cardiff City, Millwall.
I like Cardiff, Paul. Good result last night. Mick McCarthy's taken over. Millwall always hard to beat, but struggle for goals. So it's Cardiff for me there.
Interesting game, Derby, Bristol.
Well, I watched them the other night. They beat QPR 1-0 away. I've been impressed with what I've seen from Rooney. He's turned it around. They're organised at the back. Bristol City, a Jekyll and Hyde team. I watched them lose 1-0 at Preston. They didn't deserve to lose. Tight game of the 2 teams. Should be Derby.
Okay, Huddersfield Stoke. Huddersfield at home.
Now, I like Stoke, Paul. I know they've drawn their last 5. They're unbeaten away from home, but they draw a lot of games. Defensively, they're sound. Now, Huddersfield had won their last 5 home games. I backed them, and they lost the last 2. So obviously, that's the end of them. I'm all over Stoke. I've watched them play a couple of times. Played well against Watford, but 13-10 Stoke for me.
Notts Forest, Barnsley.
Tough game, but Forest haven't lost in a long time. Barnsley sold me down the river last night, 2-0 up, came back to draw 2-2. Forest in the draw for me there.
Okay, and then how about...
Well, I was going to go for Swansea. They're a good team. They don't concede goals. Rotherham have come right, but Swansea will be close. They should be in the playoffs. 12-10s in all our bets, Paul, Swansea.
Okay, lovely. And then let's have a look at...
Sheffield Wednesday, my boys.
Your boys, Preston.
My boys are in and out. 11th. I'll be hanging in, Paul, but every time we win a couple, we end up losing 1 or 2. Sheffield Wednesday, they've got, I think it's Neil MacDonald, the caretaker manager. He's looking to get the job. I think they've won their last 3 at home.
Wow.
So it won't be easy for us. I think a draw's a big player in that game, Paul.
Watford, is Troy Deeney playing?
Troy Deeney's back. Saar's back. They've got a guy, a youngster up front, Portuguese guy. They've come right. I watched them the other night. But Charlie Austin's playing, I think. Well, that's my bet with our man Andrew Rydell. Tubbs, I'm on Watford, he's on Brentford. I'm under pressure. I think 6-10 Watford's a certainty, Paul.
Okay, let's look at the PSL now. Chiefs drew, Pirates drew, and Sundowns.
Sundowns got lucky, Paul. They won all. They had a player sent off, and the centre forward for Lap is absolute sitter with a header. And they made a mistake, and Sundowns punished them.
Upanishads. Okay, let's look at the fixtures. Amazulu Stellenbosch.
Yeah, I like a draw written all over this, Paul. Okay. Benny's got them organised, but Steve Barker's a good coach.
Yeah.
19-10 for me, the draw.
Pirates?
Pirates, Chiefs, Paul. Of what I've seen, I like Pirates of the 2 teams. But
I'm going to have a big bet on Chiefs then.
Yeah.
You like Pirates, 14-10?
I watched Chiefs in midweek. Shouldn't have lost.
I'm a hunt man.
Yeah, no,
he's got to turn it around. He's got to get players. Black Leopard's just been beaten.
Well, Black Leopards played well last night against Sundowns.
Yeah.
Yeah, but TS Galaxy, another in and out team. I like Black Leopards.
They're 15th.
Yeah, second bottom, yeah.
Okay, Bloom Celtic against
Well, I think
TTM.
Celtic are certainties. They should have played last night, but the game got postponed because of water in Bloemfontein. Chikuma Matsi are the worst team in the league. I watched Celtic draw 0-0 with Sundowns. Good game.
Yeah.
11-10 all day.
Okay. Let's look at Golden Arrows, Maritzburg. So it's a derby.
A local derby at Sugar Ray Kulu Stadium, Paul. I think another draw. Maritzburg beat Chiefs. I watched them. In the following week, I backed them. They got beat 3-0 at home. I couldn't believe it. Arrows are going well. They've only lost 1 game. That was last week at Cape Town City. Tight game, Paul. 21-10 the draw.
What a great
St.
player.
Clement. Yeah, I actually played 1 or 2 games with him, Paul.
What a great
game.
player. He was so
great left foot.
Yeah, very good player, Sugar Ray Kulu. Okay, let's move on to Super Sport Swallows. Good game.
Last week, we were all over Sundowns to beat Swallows, and I turned over the 94th minute when they took Kermit Erasmus. I was counting the money, and they equalised. Swallows got a lot of fight in them. Now, Super Sport are a cup team, Paul, but they say this is second against third. I like Super Sport of the 2 teams, even though I'm impressed with Swallows' fighting spirit. There's 2 guys up front, are good players for Super Sport.
Yeah.
Problem, Gabuza.
Baraka, Cape Town City.
I like Cape Town City. I watched Baraka against Chiefs. Very not negative, but well organised. But Cape Town City have only lost 1. That was against Swallows. Difficult. I think over 2.5 goals was 13-10. Over both teams to score was 11-10. That's the way we went, but 12-10 for me, Cape Town City.
Sundowns.
Should be Sundowns all day, Paul. We've got plenty of players. Minus 12-10 to win by more than 1 goal. That's our play in that game.
Okay, let's look at your soccer sixes, soccer
Paul,
tens.
yeah, we kick off with the Saturday one. I'm banking Everton to beat Newcastle. I'm going Orlando Pirates, win and draw against Chiefs. Likewise, Black Leopards, win and draw at home against TS Galaxy. I think Bloem Celtic will be too good for Shikuma Matsi or TTM. And I'm going the field in the Golden Arrows, Maritzburg, and Supersport United, Morocco Swallows game, 2-1-6. On to our KZN one. When it goes across here, I'm banking Everton to beat Newcastle. I'm going the field in the Crystal Palace Wolves game. I don't see Man City slipping up against Sheffield United. I'm throwing the draw in with Fulham at West Brom. I'm chancing Man United to avoid defeat at Arsenal. And I'm going the field in the Southampton Aston Villa fixture, 2-1-6. Okay. On to our soccer 10. Yeah. I'm banking Everton to beat Newcastle. Norwich to beat Middlesbrough. Crystal Palace, Wolverhampton, I'm putting the field in. I'm banking Man City to be too good for Sheffield United. I've gone Fulham, win and draw at West Brom. The second page, I've banked Real Madrid to beat Levante. Juventus to win at Sampdoria. I'm going Man United, win and draw at Arsenal. And ending with 2 fields. RB Leipzig against Bayer Leverkusen, and Southampton against Aston Villa, 2-1-6.
2-1-6, okay.
On to the
13.
soccer 13, I'm going Man United, win and draw at Arsenal. I'm bankering Man City to beat Sheffield United. I'm going Crystal Palace, win and draw against Wolves. I don't see Aston Villa losing at Southampton, likewise Fulham. I think they'll avoid defeat at West Brom. I'm chancing Cardiff City to beat Millwall. Well, I think Swansea City will be too good for Rotherham United. The second page, I'm going for Stoke City to win at Huddersfield. I think Blackburn will be too good at home for Luton Town. I'm going for Preston North End to avoid defeat at Sheffield Wednesday. I'm bankering Coventry City in the local derby against Birmingham. And I'm going Derby County, win and draw at home against Bristol City. And Nottingham Forest, win and draw at home against Barnsley, 2-5-6.
Okay, Buzz, let's get on to your best bets for
on
the
to the
day.
bets, Paul. I'm going Everton to beat Newcastle and over 2.5 goals. I'm going Man City to win both halves against Sheffield United. And I'm going Aston Villa against Southampton and West Ham against Liverpool to win or draw.
Okay, those are good shouts.
2-7, 13.5 to 1. On to the Championship. I'm going Stoke City to win at Huddersfield. I'm going Swansea to win at Rotherham. I think Watford will be too good for QPR on Monday, and ending it with over 2.5 goals in the Blackburn Rovers versus Luton Town game. 3,600 to 200.
Your next one.
Our next ones are both teams to score. I'm going Arsenal Man United, Crystal Palace Wolves, Leicester Leeds, Southampton Aston Villa, and West Ham Liverpool, 2,400 to 200. Our team goals are, I'm going Aston Villa, Everton, Fulham and Leicester, all to score over 1.5 goals, or to score a minimum of 2 goals.
Yeah, got you.
14 to 1, 2,800 to 200.
Okay, the quad.
The quad, I'm going Bloem Celtic to beat Shikuma Madzi. I'm going Sundowns to beat Chipper by more than 1 goal. And I'm going both teams to score in the Baraka Cape Town City and Golden Arrows Maritzburg United clash, 3,500 to 200. And our Collis King, 6 on Nixa, I'm going
Collis
Everton
King
to beat Newcastle, Man City to beat Sheffield United, Swansea to beat Rotherham, Watford to beat QPR, Mamelodi Sundowns to beat Chipper United, and Atletico Madrid to beat Cadiz, 13 to
Some
1.
good bets there, Budge.
We landed 2 last week, Paul, so let's hope the run continues.
You got 2 last week. Well played. Well, don't forget, this weekend, last one standing. Get all the Budge, get sorted, get it on the WhatsApp, whatever you do, get the bragging rights. It's a good trip to win. And but just hope we get a good squad and get those bragging rights.
Yeah. Weather's bad, so people will be at home.
Yeah, that's right. They
on
can't go anywhere.
They'll be on the golf course or whatever, all your crew.
Get your bets on.
Yep.
All right, until next time, stay on side.